Okay, so Tyreek Hill. Okay, Tyreek Hill. Uh, I thought I saw something about him getting hurt, but now that I'm looking at this now, it's saying that he's been released by the Dolphins, which is crazy. That's crazy. I mean, Tyreek. Um, I don't know. Let's look at what's going on before we talk about give our opinion on what's going on.
Breaking news out of the NFL, according to our own Adam Schefter. Tyreek Hill is being released by the Dolphins. Hill turns 32 on March 1st and is recovering from a dislocated knee and torn ACL and will now be an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his NFL career. Stephen A., your reaction to this news?
I'm happy for him. He should want to be out of the Dolphins. If you want to win, this is a champion. This is one of the most electrifying wide receivers in the national football.
Football fans, do y'all agree? That's a surprising remark for me. I thought he was going to say something a little bit more controversial. I agree with a lot of the with a lot of the things Stephen A. Smith says. He's not 100% accurate all the time, uh, but when it comes to basketball, a lot of the things he says, he's either pretty close or he hits the nail on the head. That's why he has a really popular show. He knows what he's talking about a lot of the time. Um, I'll say like another guy in terms of football, at least, Shannon Sharp. I think his analysis is pretty good when it comes to football. Um, I don't want to chop up their names. Um, the guy, I think he was a quarterback for the Colts. I forgot his name. Sometimes he's on first take. Um, his takes are pretty good sometimes. Um, so yeah, uh, Marcus Spears, his takes are pretty good. Yeah, Cam Newton, you know.
Ball league when healthy. He's the cheetah. He's something special to behold. And as far as I'm concerned, you know what? He should be targeting going back to Kansas City. He should want to go back and play with Patrick Mahomes because he is desperately needed. With Tyreek Hill there, I don't care that you got Worthy and Rice and they ain't Tyreek Hill. They ain't Tyreek Hill. Those brothers are good. You understand? And Rice is special. But I'm telling you right now, Tyreek Hill out there, it's something to behold when healthy. That's what they should be looking at. That's what they should be targeting. He should want to go back because, damn it, he should have never left. He left for a little change. I get all of that part. Miami offered him more money than Kansas City did. So you got to get your money while you can in the National Football League. I understand that. But if there is a way for him to get back
Yeah, that was like the big reason he left in the first place for the money, right?
to playing with a quarterback the likes of Patrick Mahomes, he should do it. It should be one or two targets.
Do you think Kansas City will want him back? Would Kansas City want him back? Hmm. For the first time in his NFL career, unrestricted free agent.
You know what I'm saying? Or one or three. It should be Kansas City, Buffalo, or Baltimore. One of the three. And I say
I wouldn't
back
say
to Kansas
Baltimore.
City.
I wouldn't say Baltimore. I think the first two are kind of good options.
Because obviously he's incredibly familiar with the coaching. He's incredibly familiar with the quarterback. He's incredibly familiar with the fan base.
I would
That's where
be
he should want to go back to.
I would be surprised if the Chiefs took him back. I don't know what it's like in the inside of the organization, but I know when he left, it was kind of a big deal. I think it was pretty well understood that he went to the Dolphins. He had the opportunity to make more money, and the Chiefs had just won the Super Bowl. So he already won the Super Bowl. So he's like, hey, I already got the ring. Let me go ahead and get the money, which is completely understandable and that's respectable. Um, but I wonder how they would react. Um, which kind of makes me think of the whole conversation about like how people should look at players when they kind of make decisions like that, like they do what's best for them instead of like putting the organization first. I feel like nowadays that's kind of like a big topic, especially in the NBA, considering what's going on in the NBA. Um, it's a lot of ways to look at things like that. Like I know we're talking about Tyreek Hill, but we're talking about like athletes in general. But we'll use the NBA as an example. Like a player like James Harden came out the other day and he said like loyalty is overrated. He just kind of talks about how teams always do what's best for them, but for some reason they always want the players to be so loyal to them when they aren't really loyal to the players. And it makes a lot of sense. He's not wrong at all, really. Uh, he's not wrong at all. I mean, yeah, you that happens all the time, right? Like you know, the league has kind of done its way. The NBA owner will get as much as they can get out of you, and then when they can't get anything else, or when another deal comes up on the table, if they can replace you, they will. You know, but they want the players to be so loyal. But that's a controversial thing. And like I said, I know we're kind of getting into another thing, but it's kind of similar with it kind of reminds me of the situation with Kevin Durant specifically, right? Like how he went to a lot of different teams or how he left OKC. Personally, as just like as a fan of basketball, I don't like what he did. Just as a fan of basketball. Now there are a lot of ways to look at it. As a fan of basketball, I'm not a fan of what he did. I don't like it at all. If I can be 100% honest with you. But just as a business person, just as a professional, I respect what he did to the max. Like if you're in a position where you can control your future, do that. Like he 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 finessed the system. You know what I mean? He's going to play wherever he wants to play. He's getting the money that he wants. He's doing whatever. He's finessed the system. You know what I'm saying? He's put himself in a position where he can be in control of his career, and he's doing what he wants to do. He's not acting any different than the owners. You know what I mean? So with Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins, though, that's crazy. Um, let's see. Potential landing spots for him.
Another morning walk. With our mom's osteoporosis, I thought our days would be different.
Yeah, that's what I was starting off thinking of. Like you see this top 100 players, he was number one. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that he was a unrestricted free agent. Like I was like, oh well, you all can't see it. Hold on, let me pull this back up. This video over here about um, how he was a number one player in the NFL rated by the players. Like that was the first thing that came up in my head when I started talking about this. I was like, man, like that's so crazy how like injuries and like off the court thing, off the field, non-sports related things can happen. Like again, like I could think of an example in the NBA with this, right? But it's crazy how all that stuff kind of happens, man,
The
and it
Miami
happens so
Dolphins aren't taking
fast.
President's Day off. They are busy, and their activities for now are focusing upon moving on from several key players as the new regime settles in. John Eric Sullivan, the new GM, Jeff Hafley, the new head coach, making decisions that, for the most part, were expected, especially as it relates to the biggest one so far. Receiver Tyreek Hill was always going to be cut by the Miami Dolphins this year. $35 million in salary, none of it's guaranteed, $5 million roster bonus due on the third day of the league year. He was going to be cut, even without the serious knee injury he suffered on September 29 in the Monday night game against the Jets, even without the firing of GM Chris Greer, the firing of Coach Mike McDaniel. This was going.
From what I understand, if you're a really good player, and I think Shaq, again, I'm bringing up NBA stuff. I think Shaq talked about this. When they do stuff like that, and you're a really good player, and they didn't talk to you about it, that's not a good sign. They fired the GM, they fired the coach. They're changing things, and you don't know if you're going to be a part of it or not. You may be, you may not be.
If he had remained healthy last year, he likely would have been traded before the deadline to one of the contending teams that would have gotten a boost from Hill's arrival. The Chiefs were a team that were kind of lurking as a possible destination. Obviously, once he was injured, that was that. And the question of his health will continue to loom over his status. But for now, the key is the Dolphins have released him, but he's a free agent now for the first time in his career. And it creates an interesting possibility for a team that is looking to upgrade at the position. His health is going to be an issue, and his contract may include some protections for the team that signs him against him not becoming fully healthy. We've seen that with other contracts where bonus money is tied to passing a physical. He may have enough leverage that he can avoid that. Last year, Chris Godwin, when the Patriots wanted him badly, the Buccaneers signed him to a contract that had no expectation of health, had no triggers that would tie his guaranteed money to passing a physical. So Hill may be in a great position depending upon the number of teams that come out of the woodwork to try to get him. The Chiefs are going to be the first candidate. Eric Bieniemy's back as the offensive coordinator. There's this vibe that they're trying to get the gang back together again. There's already an increased likelihood that tight end Travis Kelce will return simply because Bieniemy is back. Hill comes back too. Patrick Mahomes, who has the torn ACL, he'll surely be ready to go by week 1. He's determined to get there. The Chiefs make a ton of sense. They made sense during the season last year for a trade. They're going to make sense now that he's free and clear and able to return to the team he was traded away from 4 years ago. But there's going to be other teams. Where's Mike McDaniel now? Oh, he's the Chargers offensive coordinator. That's spicy. That's one of the things the Chargers need desperately. They need some help at the receiver position. They need weapons for Justin Herbert.
Now, I'm not going to watch the whole video, but so far, what do you all think about what he's saying? Um, Football is kind of like the other football, the real football, what somebody will say, but football and American football and soccer, and you all get what I'm saying. I'm more familiar with football than I am soccer. I'm not gonna keep on doing this. You all know what I mean. I'm more familiar with football than I am soccer, but I also look at football the same way. Like I'm trying to get into it a little bit more. I think football is like it is so fun to watch. I love a good football game. A good football game is that's one of the most entertaining sports to me. And I'm a basketball guy, but I can admit like a really good football game that is so entertaining to watch, and it's really fun to play too. Football is super fun to play, man. Football is super fun to play. But yeah, that's it for Tyreek Hill. Let me know what you all think about that.